Hello everyone, William here, and today I'm going to show you how to make an unturned building using SketchUp. First, we want to use the urban planning meters template. If it doesn't show up here for you, since I have it favorited and you probably don't, you want to go in the more template section and scroll down and look for urban planning. There's one in feet and one in meters. Make sure you select the meters one. Press on it and wait till SketchUp opens up. Once SketchUp is open, you want to start using the shape tool. Now, keep an eye down here on the dimensions. If I extend this along the red axis, you can see that the first number is very high. Now, if I extend this along the green one, as you can see, the second number becomes very high. So what we can see from this is that the first number is the red axis and the second one the green one. Now, you can change the dimensions of it by typing numbers using the numpad, and you will see them appear. I'm going to start doing it type 30 and then a comma and then 30. If you want to add decimals, you use the dot. Now you right click and reverse face. Now what you do is press the F key to use the offset tool, select the edge and drag it inside from dot 5 and now press enter to make the outside section of the building. Now you want to draw all the lines for the walls inside. Gonna do a little example here. Let's have some fun and put the door in the middle. Since I want it to be centered, I'm going to use the midpoint of the building and extend this from 1.25. Select the endpoint and drag it. Then select the endpoint and drag it to the other side from 2.5. I'm going to delete the line on the outside and remake it, since there's going to be an endpoint that we don't want in the middle. And then we can delete the line that's connected to the inside. Now we're going to make a 1 meter here and 1 meter here. And then it should make a 4.5 meter section. So I'm going to make a 4.5 on the outside too. I'm going to use this to make a staircase. Later. Now, we want to do this what we just did here for all the rest. Now, since this connects this section of the floor, we can move this. And now we can start drawing lines. So let's say we want here 2 meters. Let's make a room here. Let's say we want 12 meters, and then we connect back here. Now, it's a thin line, so we want to make sure it's doubled. So we increase this from 0.5 here. Extend this as far as you want. Extend this from 0.5 on the other side and extend it as much as you want. Now there's these two lines extra here. Delete this using the eraser by pressing E. And delete these two lines that make sure the walls are connected to each other. Now we do this for the rest of the building. So I made this very simplistic design here. I also saved the project while I was working on it. Now, let me show you a little tour of the building. We've got a doorway here to get in, a second one here that leads in this room, and a garageway that leads in this one. We got two windows, the same size each, 3 meters long. And finally, we got a square here that's 1.8 by 1.8 for a hatch. Now, what we're gonna do now is we want to lay down the foundations. So we're gonna select all the corners and drag them down by 5 on the blue axis. And now we connect all the bottoms of these lines together except the front here. Since I'm going to use a staircase, I want the staircase to go up 8 meters and go down from 3. And then since this is 4.5 meters, we increase this from 4.5 and connect this up here. Now we drag this down from 2 meters, so we went down from 3. Connect here. Same thing in this corner. And delete this line. Now there should be a face underneath. We don't want this one. We select and delete it. Now we want to make the railing of it, so we increase this from 0.5. Select the endpoint and connect it to the one upstairs. Now we want to increase the walls, and first we're gonna delete this since it goes down. Now, this is not what you want to do, by the way, because it leads into nowhere. But I want to, I need to have this so I can actually show you how to make ladders in Unity. So now that we have this, we can save just to make sure. We use the push tool, we select the wall, and we increase that from 4.25. And we do this with this one and this one. Now these ones are windows, so we don't touch these yet. We increase this by 1 meter and this by 1 meter. Same thing for here. Increase this from 1 meter. Same for this one. Now this one might look like, what the hell is going on here? There's a crack here. And looks funky here too. Very simple. Select the endpoint. Goes up. Connect to the other side and go back down. And you can delete the front of it. And delete this line here. For the one on top, it's quite trickier. Extend this. Make sure you're connected to the pink axis, which is following the same angle as the rest. Extend this here and extend this on the red. Same thing for the other side. And now connect the two metals together. Delete all the lines that go out. These two lines on top here, and these two that connect things here, and same here. Now we don't need this line here, neither do we need these. Now I want to go around here. All your windows should have these lines. We keep those lines. Now, what we want to do is connect the middle of the doorways using the midpoint. You want to drag lines in the middle of them for all the doorways and garageways that are on the inside. The ones connected to the outside are fine. This one is connected to the balcony here. But if there was no balcony, it'll just be the outside line here. Since we want to make sure that when we're in Blender, we're not gonna have issues for the texturing. And now what we're gonna do is drag this down by 0.5 here. Same thing here. And the two other corners. And now we don't care if there's a face in the bottom, because we don't care about this one. And now what we want to do is connect some of the edges. So I'm gonna drag this one up to the end here, this one to the end here, and then this one all the way down here, all the way down here. Our goal is to make the faces of the building as rectangle as possible. This is strictly for optimization purposes, otherwise in Blender it's gonna look all funky and it's gonna make lines all over the place that we don't want. So instead of having here to select 1, 2, 3, and 4 faces for the texturing of this room, we will have to select probably 57 faces. This is a very important step. Now, what we want to do next is to do the same thing on the outside of the windows here. Connect the bottom to the bottoms. We'll do the same thing with the tops. Now, what we do here is shape tool on top here, and we'll just type 1.5, press enter for all the doors. 1.5. For the windows, it's different. We just draw here till we says on edge square. So it automatically makes a square on it that's 0.5, 0.5, which is the same thing for the carriageway. To know when you have the on square, you can see that if I extend here, there's no lines inside, but then there's a diagonal line that pops up now. You can barely see it on this one, but if I do one on the windows or in this, as you can see in red, there's a diagonal dot line. Now if I go slightly down, it disappears. When you see it, you know you're on the square section. Select the push tool and connect all the tops to the other parts. And we're gonna go up, and on the top of each one of these, clean all the stuff that's on top of the wall. The one down here, we keep them, and we make sure all of these are connected to the top of the room to make the faces as rectangle as possible on both the outside and the inside where needed. Now here, what we can do here is we can just use the midpoint here for this part of the face. It's almost a rectangle, but there's no actual holes in it, so it's not gonna have to draw lines everywhere since it's a square. We want to avoid faces with holes in them. We have to connect all the edges of the hole somewhere. And then we do the same thing all around over here. Now I think that's all of them. Now what we do here is we just draw lines along the top of the walls. Select all these faces and reverse the faces. Since the blue faces here mean it's the outside of the face, which means it's not rendered in while in game. The white faces are the one that's rendered. Since here this is supposed to be the ceiling, this is supposed to be the face you see when you're inside the room. Therefore you're not up here, therefore you don't see it. Now extend the walls here from dot 5. Delete these top lines here. And now there's a bunch of lines in the middle. Get rid of all of these. Even the one on the edges here. Get rid of all of those. Now, once that's done, select the big face, delete. Now this is where the funky part comes in. All these little lines that comes from the corner of the rooms, we delete them using the eraser. Every single one of them, make sure you don't forget any. Since this is a quite small building, it's going to be quite simple to delete them. Make sure not to delete other lines of the building, otherwise stuff might start looking funky on your side. And there's one here. Alright, perfect. Now all of them are gone, and now that should be it for the actual building. Now there's going to be 3 roof types we're going to be able to do using this shape. There's a 4th one, but it requires a quite more funky shape size, which is either an L shape or a T or whatever you want. Since we don't have this here, I'm not gonna do it. But it's gonna be pretty obvious when you're gonna be at that point. I'll maybe make a little example. Now, what we do here is triple select this and make a group. Now, this is all locked together. And there's a line here. Now, this is all grouped together. So if I select it, it all moves together. Now, what we do with this is we're gonna create, using the shape tools, we're gonna connect, let's say, the edges here, this corner down here to the corner up here, make a square in between, not a square, rectangle. Double select this, make component, create, copy and paste this. Now, it looks very nice. Tools, section plane, on top of the building. Now, it's gonna cut through the building and we can see the inside. There's another door here. Select this square and connect it down to this corner, but see it's not in the right position. Rotate tool, make sure it's on the blue axis. Select the other edge and connect it down here. Now we make another rectangle here, double click and make component. Now if those were garage frames, I'll just copy and paste them in the other ones. And now we do the window one. Since they're both the same size, I can just copy and paste them here. And finally, the hatch. Now if there was more hatches, make component and paste them in the other ones. We don't care if the fleece on this one is blue or white, since it's automatically going to be set once we're going to start editing them. Now, make sure these are made as components and not groups. This is very important. Now see, if I double click on this and start editing, press F, inside, point 1, oops, dot 1, there we go. See, the other one is moving as well with it. Dot 1 on the outside too. We delete the lines in the middle here. And we select this face. You select the one on the other one too. Delete. The components make it so that all the other components copied from this one will have the same edits as this one. So now if I drag this inside or outside, as you can see, the other one moves with it as well. Now we drag this inside dot 6 and outside dot 1. The windows are now made. Now we do the same thing here with the garage frame. Dot 1 inside, dot 1 inside, outside. Drag this down and then select this bottom one, connect it to the floor. Same thing on the other side. So select and connect all the way to the bottom here. Delete these lines. Now we can go underneath the building and see that there's these little lines here at the bottom that stick out. We delete these two. Delete the lines on the inside of the frame. Inside 0.6, outside 0.1. Same thing for the door frame now. Dot 1. Dot 1. Connect the bottom to the ground. Delete these. Go underneath. Delete the lines at the bottom. Delete the inside ones. 0.6 inside. 0.1 outside. See, this one changed too now. We can make the railing of the staircase too now. So for this, we can disable this and we can actually delete it. We select all the components, right click on one of them, and then explode. We can save just in case. Now, using the line tool, we're going to draw the outline of this. And now we do the one that goes down. We select the building now and we hide it real quick. We got this. Okay, we can do the same thing with this hatch ceiling too, as we did. So, point one, we don't have. If you disable the building, you don't have to make it in a component if it's all by himself. Delete these lines here. Delete this. Drag it down 0.6 up 0.1. Now we have this. Now what the hell do we do with this? Very simple. We double click on the top one here and we make this into a group. Select this bottom one, drag it down from 0.1 and up from 0.1. Double click the group to edit it. Drag it down from 0.1, drag it up from 0.1. This is very important that this one is a part of a group. If it's not in a group, you will not be able to drag it up or down since it touches this one. Therefore, it's gonna not let you go down. Now, once that's done, you explode the group. Now we do the same thing. There's the same crack. Fix it the same way. Pink line, red line, pink line, red line. Delete these ones. Deletes all the one on the inside and the small one at the bottom. We delete those small lines underneath too. Now we delete the two on top. Now we connect the two tops together and the two bottoms together. And now at the end of the stairs here, everything is fine. Now we can re-enable this group. I'm gonna rename it to building so we can actually figure out what's going on here. Now here, what we're gonna do now is select this tool here and increase everything. So we're gonna select all the faces and extrude them from 0.1. So to know if you did it or not, you look. If there's a line in the middle, that means it's still connected to the building. So you want to extend it from 0.1 on all the sides. Should look like this. And now that's perfect for what we're doing. We can hide the building again, drag and select everything, make a group, and call this one frames. We can re-enable the building here. Close the tab selection because I don't need it. Now we do the roofs. There's three types of roofs we can do here. The first one that we can make is quite simplistic. Shape tool, connect one corner to another. Now we select the building and we press a lock here. Make sure it's outlined in red to make sure we don't delete it by accident. We can keep the frames, it should be fine. If you don't want to see them, you can just click the I button to remove them for now. Now we draw a cross in the middle, connect a corner to a corner, connect, select all the faces and reverse them. Move tool, select the middle and increase this from 4 for example. See, this is a shitty roof. Now if you actually want to make a roof that looks like this, what you have to do is connect all these. Reverse face, extend this outside from 0.5 and delete the inside lines. Drag this down from 0.25 and up from 0.25. And now you draw the cross on top of this one and move that part up from 4 meters. Now we've got the outline here that it changes. This is the roof I'm gonna use for now. Now we've got some extra roof styles we can do. can do one here. We go up from full, go connect down here, and down here. Now you want to do this edit on the building model and then increase these lines to keep going up. But since it's not the roof I want to use, I'm not going to do this. For 4 meters here, connect there and there. Reverse this one. And then connect these two together. And I have to connect the bottom since they're not connected to the actual building model. I'm gonna select these and make a group since they're supposed to be within the building, and I'm gonna lock it. Now I'm gonna connect all the edges of it together, reverse it, F.5, delete the outside lines. Go down 0.25, go up 0.25. This is the second roof type we can do. Now I don't want to use this one, so I'm gonna unlock this, delete this, and get rid of this. The third one we can do is using the metal here, go up 4, and make 2 triangles to make a larger one. Draw all the way this down here, draw a line here, connect this up here. Now connect these corners to these ones. And now we want to reverse this face. We don't need this line anymore. Now I'm gonna make these into a group and lock it since it's supposed to be a part of the actual building. Now we connect all the edges of these together too. Select both of these reverse faces and extrude both of them from 0.5. Delete all the outside edges here, the one on top and the one on the sides. Now, same as the staircase here, double click one, make a group. Click the other one, go down 25, go up 25. Edit the group, down 25, up 25, explode the group, and now we delete all this funky stuff going on up here to just leave this triangle front shape. And we'll do the same stuff on the other side. Select the bottom here to the bottom here, the top here to the top here. And this is the third type of roof we can do for this squarish building. Unlock this. I'm gonna delete these again and re-enable those. So this is what we're using. Now, what we want to do is the nav mesh model. Very simple. Select shape tool. Connect the 3 corners here. This corner to this corner. Bring this up and snap it down here. We can unlock this and hide all of these. Make the cross. Move tool. Bring this up 4. There we go. Skybox, delete this. Triple select, make group, skybox. I can re-enable all of these trees. Now that this is done, we want to import this into Blender. So now we're going to select the first one here. Control E, and then I'm going to export this. The folder here. And I'm going to call this building. Options, make sure these are the options you have selected. Export only current selection and swap YZ coordinate. Units, meters. Make sure this is the same thing. Okay, export. Do this again with the frames, with the roof, and with the skybox. And now I'm gonna go get Blender. So I have now Blender, and you can see here we have this now folder that contains all our objects: building, frames, roof, and skybox. Now what we have here is a texture, rather quite small, as you can see. You can zoom in. It's composed of 8 squares. Now what all of these squares mean is very simple. As we can see here, this is how the squares are separated. The exterior wall is the first one, then the roof, the frames, the interior walls, the roof of the garage, the floor of the rooms, the floor of the garage, and the garage frame. Now I'm gonna put this on the side here. Now we open up Blender here. We delete all the shit that's in it. File, Import, Object. Go on my desktop and look for the tutorial folder. Building, Imports. Do it again for all the others. Frames, Import, Roof, and finally Skybox. Let's disable Skybox for now. And these two others. Now there's gonna be a bunch of materials. We're gonna create a new and call it textures. Change this to image texture and open up the texture file. Change this to material preview and change this to closest. Now it looks funky, I know, but it's not the point. Now if we go in edit mode, as you can see, everything is all nice. There's no lines everywhere that shouldn't be. Face mode and UV editing. Select all of them, and now you can see the building is here. Select all using A, press scale using S, and then press 0. G to move it around. You want to zoom in until you reach. We put this one in the first section, in the first square, which is the exterior walls. We can change this to material preview. We select all the roof of the rooms and all of the floors. And change this to the brown color here. We select again, edit mode. We go inside in the rooms and we select all the walls. And move them in the fourth square, the white one, for my texture. This is if you want to use the vanilla material palette for the houses. Now you're gonna have a fun time moving around this building. Move all of it in the white section. We don't care about the door frames and all that other stuff, since we're not gonna be able to see it. And this in the white. That shall be all the walls in the white section now. You can enable the frames and disable the building. Now we have to go here and boom and texture. Select all of them. Select this. I'll select here 0, G, and then place it all the way down back here. And place them in the third slot, which is for the frames. We don't have a garage in this building, so we don't need to use the 3 gray ones that are supposed to be for the garage parts. And then finally, we can enable the roof and do the same thing here. Change this to the texture. Select, scale down to 0, and move it down in the second one. We can re-enable all of these and change the specular to 0. Should look like this now. Very cool. Disable all of them. Enable skybox. Had the texture on it. Scale down to 0 and break the thing back up here. I can put it in the blue section. Select all the faces on top and put them in the roof part. We can save this, and I'm gonna put this on the desktop here, tutorial folder here. One last thing we do now, select all 3 ones, frames, buildings, and roof. Copy and paste it. And then select all 3 of them again, join. And I'm gonna call it clip. And we can remove the texture that's on it. Now that should be perfect. So now we have an extra copy of all the parts put together that will be used for the clip. Now that's very simple. That's it. Make sure all of them are enabled when you save SketchUp, the Blender file. And now we put this into Unity. Now that Unity is open, we can start doing everything. I will put a link down in the description on how to set up your Unity project. So first off, we grab the blend file here and we want to copy it. And we're gonna put copy it right here in the assets folder of Unity. We can then close this file and open Unity. We now have the building available in here for us. Now we go back here and we want to make sure that we had the texture too in the assets folder. We select the texture here, we enable the rewrite. We want to change this to 16 point and then clamp and the quality to none and apply. If you want to screenshot the settings, they should look like this once you're finished. Now what we do here is we're gonna create a folder and I'm gonna call it tutorial. I'm gonna open the Core Master Bundle, Object, Launch, Building, and I'm gonna select Barracks 4. Show in Explorer, copy all the prefabs in it, go down to the assets, go back to the asset folder, open a tutorial one, and paste all the prefabs in it. We can clear the errors on the console, since we don't care about this. Tutorial again, and now we have these. We're gonna start off by editing the skybox. We select the model underscore 0 here. We go back to the assets, drag the the skybox mesh, which is at the end here, and put it down in the mesh section. And then we'll put the texture on it too. before we do anything, we have to open Blender. We select everything here and rotate it like this from 90 degrees, like this, backwards. Now I have to do this with every single part of it to minus 9. Fuck. We're gonna rotate all of them to 0. Uh, Save this, close Blender. Now we go back in here. Then we can go to edit the clip. And now we can drag the clip mesh right over here. Then, since we don't need the block, we can delete the block section and change the material for this one to wood static. Go back in here and the nav. Here, we can simply use the clip for it. The object section here, we don't need the block for this one too. And then we go in here, we had in the mesh collider, we had this thing. And we change this to wood static. Model 0 here, we replace this. As you can see, we have these two models here. Model 0 and Model 1. Model 0 will be made of the building and with the texture on it. Model 1 will be set as the frames and we apply the textures. We're gonna create a copy of this and rename it to model underscore 2, and we're gonna apply the roof on it and we keep the texture on it. Now we should have everything set up here. We're gonna select this part here. We remove all the LOD parts from the building. We put model 1, model 2, and model 3 in lot 1 in lot 0, and in lot 1 we put model 1 and model 2. So now when we zoom out, we can see that the frames will disappear at some point. Now we can open this back and we have to edit all of these. On the x-axis by 90 degree. Make sure you're in edit mode while you do this. Here we can select all of them at once. Rotate them 90 degrees. Edit mode and make sure they're all set up properly here. we go on top here and move this so it's about centered. Save this. And now everything is fixed. And now we set this like this. Now we do now everything is set up properly. Finally, we want to set up the slots. We can import the object in here. And we go in transform and reset. Make sure we minus 90 degree in the rotation on the x-axis. And import the slots. And reset their position to minus 90 degree on the x-axis. Now we select both of these and unpack prefabs. We can delete the slots one from down here. Sounds will import this one back. Zoom in here. We have the two doors. Select the cube to move to isometric view. What we can do here is delete the roof and select this door back here. Go on top view and move this in about the middle section of this. Slightly more backwards, like this, and a bit more up. I'm gonna zoom in a bit to make sure the ground is placed properly nearby to it. Perfect. Select the second door, rotate that one to be for the other one. We go above again, put this in about the middle of the wall, put it in the door frame here, zoom in, make sure it's perfectly centered up and down, and it's perfectly placed. Now, what we're going to do is create an empty, call it slot. This is for the windows, and we drag this and add it to this. I want to tag it like these as a logic element. Go down and we look for the one that's called logic. And logic. Now we have some components over here, and what we can do here is copy component, and then pass component is new, and then same thing for this one. We go up on the Y and place this in about the middle. Move on the Z here, drag it down. Added the collider, extend it to touch all the edges of the windows. And we can go back on top, the side, and make sure it's about centered properly. Now I'll make a ladder slide here too in about a minute. Now we want to add the garage one. So we can just copy the door and change this one and call it gate. We're gonna move this one down over to here. Go back in isometric view. Go back in here. Now we change the x-axis size to 4 meters and the y one to 3.75, and then we'll be able to put this perfectly inside of here. Now this is where the tricky part comes in. Copy the door again, change this one to hatch. Now, one thing I'm gonna do quickly is reopen the Blender file in solid mode. Um, Edit this in wireframe. Select the bottom of this, delete it, and do the same thing on the building one. So now there's no faces at the bottom of this, so we can actually place the hatch. Um, Now we select the hatch one, and we can do here is edit. Since this is the Y one, we're gonna change the Y to 0, the X here to 2, and the Z to 2. And we're gonna be able to remake this to 0, 0, 0. We go above, and we'll be able to place this right on top of the hatch. We go in here, and we can place it right in the middle of it. We now want to copy this tool and move it right next to the hatch. Change the size of this to 1.5 and the Y size to 4.75. I go on the Y one, I'm gonna place this down here on this side. I go in here, and this is way too high, and I'm gonna make it right like this. And right over here like this. And one more change on this one, we call this one climb, and we change the layer to transparent FX. Now when we select the slots, we should have all of them. Open this back up and put the slots in here. Now we make sure double check everything is set properly in here. The nav is correct. And the clip is correct too. Now we can delete all of this garbage in here. And we can grab using Windows, Unturned, and then bundle tool. Put this in here and grab the folder and bundle it here as tutorial.unity3d. Now it's gonna take a bit of a while to do it, but while it's doing this, let's open this on the desktop and see it's gonna be in this folder here. We'll come pick it up later. For now, we go to Unturned, Bundles, Objects. Let's call it the folder here, Tutorial. Launch, Buildings, and then we're gonna select Barracks Full. We're gonna copy this and bring this in Tutorials. Rename this to Tutorial. English.dat and rename this to Tutorial Building. We open this. We remove the QE ID line. I'm gonna change the ID to something like this. Oops. I'm gonna remove this line. And down here, since I used the 4x2 texture grid I showed, and if you place them exactly like you should, like I specified it. If you go back in buildings here and look for, let's an example here, or is it? It's up right here. I missed it. For house 2, for example, open this. We can copy this and paste it onto our building, which will make it so that the texture is randomized using the vanilla palette. Now this is done bundling, so what we can do is close Unity. We can save it, and we can open this again. In fact, we can open it from here and open this. I'm gonna cut it and I'm gonna paste it into the tutorial file here. Now everything is set up properly in this file. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna launch Unturned. Now the game is open. You can go into map editor. We can open a random ass map. I'm gonna go in the terrain tab and make a island over here. Make it grass. Quick, perfect. Now go in object. If we type tutorial, we have the tutorial building right here. And now I forgot to do this step again. We go in here, and then we had this line. And now we just restart the game. I'm gonna save this real quick. Exit. Instead of restarting again, you can press the page up key on your keyboard. And we'll restart all the assets. Reloading. Alright, now that the game is loaded back up, we can go back in here and edit this. Now if we search for tutorial again, press E, we can see the building. Now, see this one is nicely colored brown. Copy and paste this. Oh, this is a green one. Oh, a red one. Oh, and the blue one we had. And another green one. We have a beige one now. Oh, we have this one already. And now we have the yellow one. So now, since you have used the same grid texture pattern that I used, you can actually put the vanilla pattern in it and will automatically modify the textures for you. And will look nice like this. So it will be able to have multiple different levels of customizations, so you only have one building. Now if I save this real quick and had a player spawner right there, let's go take a look on the map, shall we? Make sure everything is set up properly. Now I have to find it. Right here, play. Let's take this red one, for example. You can see we can hear the wood sound, so it's all good for now. And once we punch everything, we can see the decals. So from what I can see, everything is working properly. The collider seems to be working properly too. Now the real question is, are the slots working? So I'm gonna spawn, a bunch of these. And give myself a bunch of XP for the crafting skill. And now, let's go ahead and let's craft a door. This one seems to be working fine. This one is blocked because of this, but if we place it from this side, it's all fine. Because this thing is a bit too close. You want to leave at least a meter between each, when you put a wall, you want to leave at least a meter, and 0.5 like there is on this one is just for placement help. If we make a ladder, you can go over here and it will snap onto this. Now if we craft an hatch, it should snap perfectly over here. And now maybe we need a bit more scrap. We can make a double door and place it right here. Now I don't have a fire camp on me. Then I'm gonna need the cooking skills. Make a bunch of these plates. Make a weak glass. And now fits perfectly in this one. Fits perfectly in this one. And this is how, folks, you make a building for Unturned. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or suggestions for next tutorials, make sure to leave them down in the description. If you have any issues with making your own building, make sure to join my Discord down below and ask in the support channel, and I'll be there to help you. If you find this video helpful, make sure to consider subscribing and leaving a like so that I can help as much people as I can. And thank you for watching. William out.